I appreciate everybody that came up for this presentation. I'd like to introduce Sam Wenzel, who is a Silicon Valley mind coach. Just real quick little background. I was introduced to Sam by Coach John, who is actually one of Sam's clients and has been working with her on the mental part of the game of golf. Obviously, if you're here, you're a pretty good player already, and you've been working hard on your game, and everybody here, I'm going to guess, at some point in time, has found that on the golf course, it's not all about the physical, is it? Right? It isn't at all. Right? So, from Coach John, when he introduced me to Sam here, and Sam and I had a lot of discussions, I was very impressed with what she had to present and how it applies to not just the players, but the support for the players, which is the parents. That's why we ask that parents attend this as well. Because as supportive junior golf parents, if you're in this room, you already know what the challenges are about getting your kids out to be able to practice and to get them to golf tournaments and all the time and effort it takes. But also, I'm sure you've all noticed that, not everybody in this room, as talented as they are, is always focused and always able to be at the top of their game in the mental part of the game. You might always feel like you're really close in the physical part, but as we know, because we've all seen the best players in the world struggle on the golf course, right? And Dustin Johnson shot 80 last year in a tournament, as did Jordan Spieth, as did Tiger Woods, right? So I was very impressed with what Sam had to tell me, and also what Coach John and some of Sam's other clients who I've had the chance to talk to have told me about her approach to help you in the mental game. So that being said, I'd like to turn over the rest of the evening to Sam.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for coming out tonight. I know it's been a long day for everybody. The air is not the best, but we'll do some exercises later that will make you feel great, hopefully. So who in this room has ever wondered, how can I gain an unshakable confidence on or off the golf course? Who would like to get that? Raise your hand. Great. Anyone in this room who would like to build more bounce back power or resilience? Meaning you had a few bad shots, maybe a bad tournament, maybe you don't feel quite, good or whatever. How would you like to be able to feel more resilient and stronger? Anyone? And then, how would you like to be able to get into the zone on demand whenever you want to? So I know sometimes you just feel a little bit out of it, maybe having a bad day. The key is, how do you then snap out of that and get into a better mental state of mind so that you can execute flawlessly? Anyone here would like to learn how to do that? Okay, some people. Good. I know some of you, or maybe most of you here, want to get into a good college via golf, or even become pro golfers, right? So what does it take to do that? It takes top performance all the time, ideally, right? But then there's this human factor, right? Where we are in a bad mood, or we didn't sleep well, or maybe we had a bad run of golf, or something happened. So the question is, how do we overcome that? And that's why I'm here to talk to you tonight, because Terry and John have seen what we can do, and they thought it's worth your time and effort to come up here and learn a little bit more about how the mind works and how we can possibly bring you some answers to those pretty relevant topics. Sounds good? Okay. Agenda. I'm German, by the way, so everything has to have an agenda, In a moment here, we'll hear from John. Prior to that, I'm going to be introducing myself, and then Casey, who flew in from Colorado, will be introducing himself. We'll talk about current challenges that we've so far experienced with respect to what parents and youth in the room might experience in terms of challenges, how we bring about transformational change, meaning our methodology. Then we'll actually do some fun exercises, so it's very interactive tonight. Most likely you will walk out of here with a whole new mindset. That's the idea. How our mind works, I'll spend a little bit of time on that. The reason being is if you truly understand how the subconscious mind works, you most likely will do some things differently the second you walk out of this room tonight, and it will better your life. Then we'll talk about the actual program, what's involved in terms of how does it go down, what's involved with the investment, and so forth. And then a whole 15 to 20 minutes is allocated for Q&A. So I realize this is a new concept, so you may have some questions. And if you feel so inclined, you can sign up tonight as well. Sounds good? All right, so I'd like to welcome up John, our first live testimonial. Thank you, John, for volunteering this week. He was the first person I spoke to, and before we hear from him, I basically just came out here to shoot a couple of balls at the range, and he said, "Oh, hey, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a year. What are you up to?" And I said, "Well, I quit my corporate career, and now I'm doing hypnotherapy." And then I said, "Actually, I wanted to talk to you because I was thinking maybe it works for golfers. I haven't really tried it, but we should maybe try this. Would you like to do that?" And he said, "Absolutely, sign me up, right?" So we started the program, and I was quite surprised. And I think you were even more surprised with the results that came out of it. And so the rest, as they say, is history. Now I'm standing here before you because I truly feel that this is a market gap, and a lot of people are looking for what we have to offer. John?
Just want to share with you a little timeline.
Sorry about that. We have only one mic because somehow I didn't understand that it takes one receiver for one microphone. So we're just going to give a little switcheroo here.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just want to share with you a timeline that I had with Sam. Like she said, that we met on the range and we formed a little schedule to do some things, and I started working with Sam around the 9th of July. We had our first session, and then we had another one on the 12th. And in that session, she gave me some tapes to listen to at night and her process. And the first tournament was just a short time later, which was on the July the 16th. I play competitive. I'm involved in playing in the NCPGA Senior Division. I play about 20, 25 events a year. Even with my busy schedule of teaching everybody, I still love to get out there and to compete. And this event was a Pro Series event at Contra Costa. And I incorporated what Sam had taught me into my own pre-shot routine, and I was amazed what came out of that tournament. I had an amazing putting round. It even took my fellow competitors by surprise. They've known me. I'm not really all that great. I don't make a lot of putts. I hit the golf ball really well. I hit lots of greens, and I could have 17 one putts that are just just a little tap in. So I don't make a lot of putts. And that day, I had 30 putts. I shot 74, and I had over 140 feet of putts made, which was on a normal day, 100. That's like more than 100 feet of putts made than I normally do. So it was a really amazing round of golf. I continued to listen to the recordings for the next 2 weeks. And then on Monday, July 30th, I played up in Napa at the Silverado Golf Resort. You guys know about that place? There's a north and south course. We had another NCPGA Pro event up there. And I continued to use the combination of Sam's technique and pre-shot routine that just absolutely fit beautifully together. And I ended up shooting a 200 par 70, and I won my division and the overall division that day. So it was pretty amazing. And then just 1 week later, I was invited to go down to Southern California to Santa Maria and play in the NCPGA Challenge Cup matches where the Northern California play the Southern California in a Ryder Cup format. And the first day is a two-man best ball, and we were tied, and on the last hole, I hit an amazing golf shot, almost went in the hole, just missed going in, birdied the last hole and won the match. And then at the time, there was a lot of my fellow teammates around there, and I was able to use the techniques and my pre-shot routine to pull off that golf shot and win the match. And then the next day is the singles matches, and I am not a very good match player. I usually shoot myself in the foot. I usually beat myself up, and the other guy doesn't have to really win holes. And I don't know if you ever experienced something like that, right? But I was paired up against one of their top players, and I defeated him 3-2. So, as you can see, I have not spent a lot of time with her. I'm very, very busy in schedule, and I was able to literally squeeze this in a very short period of time. I'm really looking forward to next year my tournament play, because I love to play tournament play. I love to take what I share with my students out there and put it to the test. And then if it works out there, then I know that what I'm sharing with you all is got some value to it. And so I can't wait to continue on with her this next year to see what else is possible. So thank you.
Thank you, Phil. I'm just fascinated by the technology. Yeah. Okay, so ta-da, that's me. So I'm from Munich. I moved here in 1998, directly from Munich to Morgan Hill. I have two beautiful sons. One of them is here tonight manning the camera. Martin?
Hi.
The other one is recovering from colonitis. He's at home, he's 18. Then I had a sales career at ADP, Oracle, and RSM. I started my sales career in 2008 and finished it in 2016, somewhat without wanting to, because I actually had a job burnout. That picture is a selfie that I took to explain to my parents why I wasn't going to come visit them in Germany that year. Because they're like, "You're not working, why can't you come visit?" I'm like, "Because I'm sick, guys." So the question that I always get is, how did you make that career shift from being a sales professional selling technology and software to a hypnotherapist? And the answer is, I was so sick, I had to come up with a solution fairly quickly to save myself. I was basically on antibiotics for a half a year, nonstop, for 10 bladder infections and 3 kidney infections. I couldn't sleep, I didn't eat much, and I definitely couldn't process thoughts properly, so work was out. So my doctor wanted to give me all these pills, anti-depression, anti-anxiety, and sleeping, and I don't know what else. And so, good evening. And so I basically refused to take those medications and and figured I have to get my mind back to a better place. I realized it's all up here. And I also knew that it has a lot to do with the subconscious mind, which is where all of our behaviors and patterns and emotions are lodged. And so I Googled managed subconscious mind. I found hypnotherapy, read up about it, and it made a whole lot of sense to me. And so a few weeks later, I enrolled in the Hypnotherapy Academy in Albuquerque. I did the 300-hour training program, came back, a completely new person, pretty much the way you see me today, was completely healed. Okay, given on the last day I didn't have a kidney infection, but after that was my last episode. After that, not one day, knock on wood, I've been sick since then. Quit my career immediately, because obviously that was making me sick, and I started Silicon Valley Mind Coach. In the meantime, I've also enrolled in a master's degree for sports psychology, I have paid my first tuition. Classes started December 1st. Yay! So that's me. I brought here with me today Casey. Casey, come on up. Casey and I met good evening, in the Hypnotherapy Academy, and so we did the training together. That's where we met, and I'm going to turn it over to Casey now for a couple minutes.
So, hi everyone. My name is Casey Petty. I'm originally from Las Vegas, Nevada, born and raised, and then now currently I reside in Colorado Springs, Colorado. See, I started my adult career in the military. I joined it right after high school. And in the military, they teach you a lot of skills. They teach you a lot about how to endure complicated situations and stress. And my service definitely changed the way I looked at the world in a very positive way, but there was something that happened near the end of my first term in the military, and that was my wife, as you see in the bottom picture there. She was diagnosed with suicidal depression, and she was also developing breast cancer. And so with all the skills that I had, I could not figure out how to fight that particular battle. The military didn't train me for that. So I was fascinated by trying to find an answer to that problem. And that answer came down to hypnotherapy. But how I found that was I was looking at how the mind, how the body, and the relationship between the two and the effect of our energy work and how they can change our lives. And one day I was looking at a breathing technique for meditation. And I loved it. And I looked at the article again. I saw that the person who wrote it was a hypnotherapist. Now I know what hypnotherapy is, and I know what a hypnotist does. Or no, sorry, not hypnotherapy, hypnosis, and what a hypnotist does. But I wasn't aware of how a hypnotist uses hypnosis in a therapeutic setting. And as soon as I looked that up, what hypnotherapy is and how you can use that, I was sold. I fell in love with the idea. So I went down to the Hypnotherapy Academy, where I met Sam. And we had very profound, positive experiences there. I mean, it blows your mind, really, it does, what you can do with your mind. And I'm pretty sure that you too will have very profound, positive experiences with the protocols and program that we're going to be doing with you. And I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
But I think you heard him well anyway. Thank you for having a good voice that carries. Thank you. So, current challenges. This is what I've so far been able to glean what's going on. Giving into pressure is a pretty common one, of course. Not being able to get in the zone when one would like to. Fear of failure, lack of resilience, I think those are all pretty self-explanatory. Limiting beliefs about own ability. What that means is sometimes we have these things that lurk under the surface that we're not even aware of, and sometimes we say things without thinking about them that have a profound impact on how we play, such as, oh, I suck at putting. I don't know anyone in this room, and I'm not looking at anyone. No, I'm just saying, but one would like to say that. So these things, if you have that swimming right in your mind, I suck at blah, 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 or I'm not good at X, Y, and Z, that's going to play out for you, right? That's going to manifest. So that's actually an easier one, because if you say it, then you're already aware of it, and then it's easy to change. The more difficult thing is sometimes to find the limiting beliefs that we carry with us that we're not aware of. A lot of people have those around money or about health performance as well, could be. So that's what we're working on as well. And then non-serving behaviors, those are things that are getting in the way of us being resourceful emotionally. And sometimes we're quite aware that we're not reacting in the best possible way. But it's difficult to snap out of it, right? And say, okay, I realize being angry is not really helpful right now, but I'm angry right now. You know, how do you snap out of it and not be angry? And that's what we're going to teach you. It's not so much teaching as it is experiencing letting anger go altogether, so that you are just more calm in a general sense, which will also then manifest on the golf course. Make sense? Yeah. Question. Is question here? Yes. All the way in the back. Come on up. So thank volunteering to come up here. So Christian and Deepak have gone through the program 2/3 by now. So he has done 4 out of 6 sessions. The program is 6 sessions per person, 6 for the parents, 6 for the junior player. We were going to have our 5th session last night, and I asked him very specific questions. I said, how's this going, how's that going, how's that going? And he was affirmative in every way. I said, you know what, let's just save the session for in a month or so when you need it, because right now you're totally on track with everything. I can't think of anything else to do with you right now, this second, right? So why don't you share with the group and I do give you the mic, hang on, what you've learned or how this has been going for you. Good, eh? Cool. Take a picture.
So my name is Christian, and before I started doing these sessions, during tournaments, I get really nervous, like I care too much about the round. I just start to break down. Getting into the zone is something because sometimes I bogey my first hole and I just go, everything would go downhill from there and start swearing and losing my temper. Failure, yeah, definitely does. And for me, I don't like to hit bad shots like most guys, I guess. To me, I just play safe all the time. Maybe in par 5, I only have 200 in, but I lay up because I wouldn't want to like hit into the hazard or lose my ball. Resilience definitely played a big part because every time I made a bogey, I'd usually follow it up with another bogey or doubles. I used to judge myself. I wouldn't trust my gut or my ability to hit certain shots. Like a few weeks ago, Poppy Ridge on the last hole is a tough shot over the water. It's a tough shot. It was into the wind as well. And normally I would have laid up, but I went for it and I got onto the green. It almost made me fall back. Non-serving behaviors, I guess that's like my bad temper, because sometimes I do get a little heated when I make a bogey, but I've gotten better because I've just forgotten about it and gotten over it, because I know that I'll make birdies down the road if I just focus and hit one shot at a time. And again, with anger and frustration, you just have to stay calm, because if you don't stay calm, you're just gonna play too aggressively, and your judgment won't be as good as it normally will be. And a good example of this, the last tournament, I was like 3 over through 4, 4 over through 4, and my last 14 holes, I was 3 under. So I came in solidly and didn't get angry, and I played a good round.
You want to show also that how you sleep now, about that?
Now, like before, I used to take 20, 30 minutes to fall asleep. Or I'd use my phone to fall asleep. And then now I'm using hypnosis. You take 3 deep breaths and you pause between the inhale and the exhale, and then you just think of your happy place. Just a place where you feel 100% in control. And that's helped me sleep better and more confidence, I'd say.
Yeah, confidence. Yeah, talk about confidence. Is that what you see a big shift there as well?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely more confidence. I've been taking riskier decisions, I'd say, like normally things I wouldn't do, like trying different shots, maybe going a bit riskier during some shots, or maybe I would back down a little bit before, but now I've done it, so now I start doing it more often, and it's become kind of usual now for me to just go for a par 5 and 2, even if the risks are pretty high.
Good, great.
As Christian's coach, I'd like to just say one thing too.
Yes.
Prior to Christian and Deepak working with Sam, I can almost guarantee you Christian would not have been able to stand up there with the poise and confidence that he did today to talk to all of you guys, his peers, and all you parents, because that's pretty scary to get up and talk. And he didn't look nervous at all, did he?
No.
Yeah, and so for that, I'm really proud of you.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. What I notice a lot is that if I work with somebody on one area, it translates to all areas of life, basically, right? So if you are more confident on the golf course, you become more confident as a person, which is good in many other areas. So parents also have challenges to face, such as feeling hopeless sometimes. We always want the best for our kids, especially as they scramble for victory, and we want to do something to help them. And sometimes it's very difficult to figure out what exactly is the best path forward to help them. And sometimes we notice that we're not acting in the best possible way, but again, it's sometimes difficult to figure out what we should have said or done instead. I'm sure as a parent, I'm not the only one who's ever given the download. Martin, that has happened, right? In the last 22 years at some point. Yeah. So the download is basically when you are just unloading your frustration on your child, and it's not particularly helpful. And you know it's not helpful, but you do it anyway, right? And the goal here is to help you not feeling like you want to or have to do that. Of course, the download can translate into tension at home, and then there's another aspect, which is anxiety and nervousness on the golf course. I heard from someone here that is feeling that way when the child is playing and you're basically standing by the sidelines. You can't do much other than wait and pray and hope that everything goes the way it should. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome up Deepak to share his perspective on that.
Wow, I didn't really anticipate it was coming up here to talk, but Sam did make me aware of it. I will tell you that I do have an award here that I'm the worst golf father for the last 5 years. If you've seen me in action on the golf course, there are two people who know what I get up to. They know me very well. One of the things, the struggle I have is that when you're seeing your child play and you think, oh no, they're going into this downward cycle. And many people have told me, you've got to keep your emotions really quiet, but obviously I'm the best for it. I can honestly tell you that if you ever see me and film me, you just thought, oh no. And Sean knows what I'm up to. He's known me for many years. So how did it change for me? Well, it really did change for me because I had to take breathing exercises. I just had to let go as well, let Christian play his game. And what we did is that prior to the tournament, we would say, I wouldn't say to him, best of luck, or don't do this on this hole, don't do this on this hole. Totally forget everything. Just enjoy. Just enjoy the day, plan the day out, and have fun with it. But at the same time, when we took the first couple of lessons, we I noticed the difference. I wasn't sort of getting anxious as much, but it's still there. It's a work in progress. But when we went to Windsor, we played that tournament that day, and it was a good field. And Christian played a fairly good round, and he had a few hiccups towards the end, but then said, don't worry about it, continue. And he kept on playing the next round, and came in with a great score. And we struggled this year to get into the top 6 on the senior JTNC, the championship line. What happened? Christian came in 3rd. not only becoming third, he beat quite a few players who were off to college. So we kind of went, whoa, what happened here? What changed? And he just sort of said, look, let me play my game, let me do my own thing. And yes, me as a father, I'm probably one of the ones who brings a lot of bad karma on the golf course. So I have to now learn to control my feelings and just let him play. And I've told him also, just go for it. Even if you don't think you're going to play, just play those shots. You have nothing to lose now. And a couple of times, when we played Poppy Ridge, and I distinctly saw there was a long par 5. He cracked it off the tee, placed it in a reasonably good place, and I thought, oh, he'll just lay up. And then I saw him pick up the club. Oh no, he's going to go for the flag. And I looked at the window and thought, oh no, this is going to go in the drink. I know it. But he just cracked it, and it beautifully, this full ball was beautifully flying, and it landed within feet of the green, and he dropped the putt. And I went, wow. I was just so, I said, my bit's done. I just now need to let him play his game. And then the following week we played Pajero, the same thing, and he came in fourth. So we definitely have seen a massive improvement. And the thing is, I'm not so concerned about him now. It's me. I still have a bit of work to do. But other than that, there are a lot of controlling the emotions, tension at home. We've kind of now, even with the schoolwork, said the way we look at it is not to judge him, or you've got a bad grade, or this is, so okay, what happened? What can we do now so that, let's not focus on why you got that, let's work on what we need to get you where you need to be. And it's helped dramatically. And I think really that's where, and one of the things, the last thing after, I was thinking of two people who would benefit from this. And it was actually Sean and Helen. Because I thought, oh, these guys want to go into this, and I wasn't too sure if I'd go and tell them. But the funny thing is, the book showed up. Oh, maybe, yeah, maybe a good. Yes. So there you go. He's made tremendous progress. So next season we're kind of really looking to an exciting season.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the question is that how do we bring about transformational change? I'll look at my notes here. Right. So have you ever tried to talk someone out of a habit? How has that worked? If you have. Not well, right? Have you ever tried to talk someone out of a depression? People try to do that with me. Didn't work. So, have you ever tried to talk to your significant other or your child or your spouse about changing some things about them? Probably, right? Has it worked? Somewhat, but not super great, right? So why is that? You talk to them at the conscious level, which is where everybody understands everything. Oh yeah, I should totally cut out the junk food. I should totally, fill in the blanks, right? Not do this and instead do this. But then you see them do it anyway, right? Why is that? That's because when we talk and communicate, we talk at the conscious level, which is where our reasoning analysis is, but the subconscious mind is where all of our patterns, all of our behaviors, and all of our emotions live, okay? So, if we can't talk somebody out of stuff, then what should we do? The answer is not to stop talking. The answer is to stop talking at the conscious level and start talking at the subconscious level. Does that make sense to everybody? Because that's where the hardware is, right? That's where the junk is that you need to get to. So, what happens in hypnosis is that the critical factor or the conscious mind actually retreats and gives way to the subconscious and allows us to communicate directly to the subconscious, which is really cool. That is why hypnotherapy is so effective. And I think, quite honestly, we're at the forefront here of a huge wave. I can see it coming because there's more and more research coming up now, finally. It's overdue, to prove the efficiency of this method. So the hypnotic state, which you will experience tonight, we'll talk about it first, so nobody has to be scared. Everyone will have a good time. The hypnotic state is where all the magic happens. So that's basically the basis for all of our sessions. So all the work we do, meaning all the affirmations and the imagery and the visualization techniques we use are all applied when you guys are in hypnosis so that we can have a huge impact directly at the subconscious level where all your patterns are located. Does that make sense? So that's what we do. Before we launch into the hypnosis, we're going to do a couple of exercises to prove to you how powerful your mind is. Would you like to, the juniors in the back there, you can participate as well? Hello? Great, thank you for your attention. Casey, would you like to do the lemon exercise? So, we're going to show you something. Casey? Watch what Casey is doing, okay? Everybody look at Casey now.
This is a lemon.
Good job. Good job. So I'd like to get some feedback. What just happened in your faces and in your mind and in your mouth? Anybody want to tell me what happened? Yes?
The lemon tasted very sour.
The lemon tasted very sour. Right. So what did you guys feel in your face, in your mouth? Anything? What? You could feel that you were salivating, right? Yeah. And I could see all of your faces going like, So what happened here is very simple, right? He was biting into the lemon, you guys didn't. Nobody here bit into a lemon but Casey. But for some odd reason, you all had a physical reaction, didn't you? You had saliva pop up, your jaw clenched or whatever, and you made these faces as if you were experiencing it. So that proves that if you put out a thought, your body can react in a very physical way. Is that right? Does that make sense? So now we'll do another exercise. Yep. It's a visualization exercise.
So for this exercise, you might want to make sure that you're not too close to the person next to you. Just so that your arms can be like this. If you do that breathing, you're good.
Perfect.
So once you guys have your spaces, all right, I'd like everyone to raise your arms up. All right, so I'm going to mirror you. You'll take your left hand and make a thumbs up. Okay? Yep, keep that up. And then with the other hand, flip it up like this, and then make a fist. Very good. Now, what we're going to be doing is called balloon and bucket exercise. All right? So you guys are going to have a balloon in one set of hands and a bucket in the other pretty soon. Now, everyone, close your eyes when I count 3. 3, 2, 1, close. Very good. Now, I want you to imagine in your right hand a bucket. And now that bucket is full of wet sand. All right, so imagine that bucket is now full of wet sand, and that bucket is becoming heavier and heavier. And as it becomes heavier and heavier, your hand pulls down, lower and lower to the ground, lower to the ground. And as the bucket is pulling your arm lower and lower to the ground, the left hand now has a string in it, and that string is tied to a bunch of balloons. So many balloons that it makes your hand lift higher and higher, up to the sky, higher and higher, lifting higher and higher. And as it goes higher, the bucket gets heavier, pulling the hand with the bucket lower and lower and lower to the ground. Good, now let's freeze there, open your eyes. All right, so look at the position of your hands like they are off-center. If you have something like this, or even if it's just a little off, that is the power of your mind reacting to your thought.
All right. So what did you guys learn from this exercise? Anybody? Yes? Just yell it out. What did you learn?
My body weird and
That your body is weird? Is that what you said? Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't say it's weird. Maybe it just does exactly what you tell it to, right? Yes.
it's like your brain is literally sinking. That a heavy sand bucket is in your hand, and
Yeah.
a bunch of balloons tied on the string, and then the other hand is like
Yeah.
sinking. That the body part is just doing.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? So you think of something and your body actually does a specific action, right? Does anybody have different input? Yes, John?
I think that when I was in the middle of the exercise, I started to resist, and I said, I'm not gonna let my hand drop at that moment.
I'm not doing this.
And then I just went with it, what would it feel like if it was really heavy?
Yeah.
And my arms just started to go
Yeah.
down, and my arm would go up, which was really light and fully
Yeah.
up. So you can be open to coaching, or you can not be open to coaching. You can be open
Yeah.
to imagination, or not be open to it. And if you take a moment and let go into the exercise and really imagine what it's like to have a heavy bucket,
Yeah.
your head will drop.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. So yeah, that brings me to the good segue to my next topic. So in a moment here, I'll guide you all into your very first hypnosis. Okay? Are you guys excited? Yeah! All right. Before we do that, I'm going to dispel the typical myths, because we've all seen those movies, right, where somebody's on the stage and acts like a chicken, all this crap, right? I could do that, but I'm not going to do that. That's totally useless. So, I'll tell you what hypnosis isn't, and then I'll tell you what it is, and then we're going to do it after I answer your questions. Sounds good? All right. Hypnosis is not mind control. So that's a myth out there where people say, oh, you're going to make me do stuff I don't want to do. No. If I asked you to do something unethical, you would guarantee you would not do it at all, because you're still very much there. So it's not like you're unconscious or some weird stuff. No, you're very much there in hypnosis, and you're aware of what's going on. And therefore, if I asked you to do something unethical, you would just oppose it and not do it. Okay? Hypnosis is basically a contract, to John's point, between the hypnotherapist and the client. Meaning, if you are hell-bent on saying, I'm going to show her, I'm not doing this, I bet you it's not working on me. Probably right. I think it would be very hard for us to get you to the hypnotic state if you truly made it your chore not to go along with it, right? If, however, you say, I don't really know if I can or can't go into hypnosis, let's just see what happens, then we're good. That's all I need is an open mind, all right? Am I missing anything, Casey? What is it?
That was the way for me.
Excuse me?
That was what happened with us. Was that when we started our session, I had some weird premonitions about what it was, but then I let go of all that, and then I just let her guide me, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah. So what hypnosis is, here's the definition. It's a natural state of focused attention where your mental awareness, where your body is fully relaxed, and you have a heightened awareness of what's going on inside you. All right? So I'm going to repeat that. It's a natural state of heightened awareness where your body is fully relaxed and your mind is more alert of what's going on the inside. That's what it is. Is that a good definition? Let's see what else. I want to make sure I don't miss anything here. Does anybody have any questions about hypnosis before we actually do it? And by the way, you cannot get stuck in it. That's another thing. You cannot get stuck in hypnosis. No, that doesn't happen. And the other one is, can everybody be hypnotized? That's a typical one. People say, I'm too smart, too intellectual, too analytical, too fill in the blanks. does it work on me? The answer is, scientifically, I actually talked to Dr. Spiegel at Stanford, who is a leading scientist. He says, no, we have proof that not everybody can be hypnotized. He must be right, because he's the scientist and he examines the brain and all that. I personally have not had that experience, so I think it has to do a lot with rapport. So if I was with a stranger who wants to hypnotize me, I might have some reservations, quite frankly, right? I'm like, I don't know you. So it's very important that there's trust and there's a rapport. Given that you're all in the room here because Terry and John invited you, and I'm not some stranger that, was hitchhiking on the street, there's a good chance you have enough trust and faith in me to go along with it tonight. Does that make sense? Cool. Does anybody have any questions before we do this exercise? Yes.
So if you're not getting like out of your mind, then
Sorry, go ahead. If we're not getting out of your mind, continue.
like in those cartoon shows, how does it happen?
Okay, why don't you come up here, because I can't hear you. So, state your question.
So it's like real life hypnosis.
Yep.
Like how does it feel?
You're going to experience it in about less than 3 minutes how it feels. How's that? Sounds good? Yes. How young is too young? Well, you know what? Casey here is a clinical hypnotherapist, and he can answer that.
Yeah, so the part of the conscious mind that we're trying to relax, and so where we're not having it butt in and refute the suggestions that we're working with, the affirmations, that part usually develops in a child around 6 to 7 years old. So that before that, it's more difficult. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but you really want to wait until around that 6 or 7 age. Anything after that, you're good.
Thank you. So Casey's actually had more training than me. So he's trained to work with physically ill people, clinical.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas I did not do that training. And I don't need it for this anyway. Any other questions? Yes.
Can't hypnosis be used for like surgery?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know someone who goes to the dentist and instead of asking for Novocaine, he puts himself in self-hypnosis. And actually, our teacher does that. He does root canals that way, doesn't he? But he says don't start with that. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Good. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I would like to have everybody take out their cell phone at this point and make sure it's off. Switch it to off right now. Right here, right now. Every time we go into hypnosis, we're going to start with 3 deep diaphragmatic breaths. John is an expert at this. Deepak is an expert at this. Christian is an expert at this. We're going to start with that now. I'm going to explain it once, and then we're doing it together. And on the 3rd exhale, you just can close your eyes. All right? Okay, I'm going to demonstrate the first diaphragmatic breath, and then we're going to do 3 of them together. Sounds good? All right, I'm going to show it to you first. Inhale. Christian is doing it with me. I'm cracking up. So what we do is we inhale through the nose, fill up the lungs completely, count silently to 2, and then exhale through slightly parted lips. The exhale is to be longer than the inhale. Now we're going to do the breaths, and on the 3rd breath you're going to exhale and close your eyes and just follow the sound of my voice from that point on. Sounds good? All right, inhale. That's right, again. One more time. All right, you may close your eyes now. and just follow the sound of my voice. In a moment, I'm going to guide you into a state of deep relaxation. Just relax with your eyes closed and let your mind and body completely relax. Any sounds that you hear will take you even deeper into relaxation. Now, with your eyes closed, imagine, sense, or feel a beautiful, bright beam of light that comes from the sun and surrounds you completely. Breathe this fresh, healing, and renewing light. It is now flowing into the right side of your brain, the left side of your brain, your pineal gland, forehead, eyes, ears, nose, sinus area, mouth, tongue, the back of your head, your hair, your entire body is now filled with brilliant liquid white light. All of your facial muscles, your eye muscles, and your jaw are now completely relaxed. The bright light is now flowing down into your neck and your throat. Just imagine all the muscles in your neck turning loose, limp, and relaxed. The light is now filling up your shoulders, arms, hands, and even the tips of your fingers. Now, send that brilliant, liquid, healing light down your spine, and feel your spine decompressing. See how especially the top and the bottom of your spine are getting brighter and brighter. You can feel all the muscles in your back relax completely now. Now that the liquid bright light is everywhere in your organs. That's right. Your spleen, your stomach, liver, and gallbladder are all filled with this liquid healing light. Now, the light travels down into your intestinal tract, bladder, sex organs, and kidneys. You're becoming so relaxed. Feel the wonderful sense of peace and safety flowing through you as you send the liquid light down into your hips, upper legs, lower legs, feet, and even the tips of your toes now. The liquid white light is now in every nerve and cell in your body, and you feel wonderfully healthy and relaxed. Just being in trance is healing for you. Enjoy this pleasant time as your body restores itself. In a moment, moment, I'm going to count backwards from 5 down to 1. On or before the number 1, your eyelids are locked down tight, and any attempt to open them causes them to lock down even tighter. 5, your eyelids are locking down tight. 4, they're sealing shut now as if glued. 3, any attempt to open them causes them to lock down tight. 2, the harder you try to open them, the more they're locking down closed. And 1, go ahead and try opening your eyes and find them locking down tight. Good. Stop trying and go 3 times deeper into relaxation and enjoy this pleasant space for a moment while I'm quiet. In a moment, I'm going to count up from 1 up to 5. On or before the number 5, you will be fully refreshed and awake. 1, slowly, calmly, easily and gently returning to your full awareness once again. 2, every nerve and cell in your body is wonderfully refreshed and relaxed. 3, from head to toe, you feel perfect in every way. Physically perfect, mentally perfect, emotionally calm and serene. 4, your eyes begin to feel sparkling clear as if your face had been bathed in cool spring water. 5, open your eyes, stretch and smile. Say fully alert. Yay. Give yourself a hand. So yeah, talk to each other for a minute and exchange how you felt and what happened. What's your feedback? What did you experience? You felt sleepy? Yeah, that means you're relaxed, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know what I should have done wrong, Teresa, in the beginning. I should have marked on a sheet or something how stressed on a scale of 1 to 10 you feel, and compare that to how you feel now. So without quantifying, I guess we can all agree that we feel more relaxed now than we did before the exercise. Can we agree on that? Yeah. So how did it feel? Anyone want to share how they feel, or how that whole process went for them?
Peaceful.
Peaceful. Okay, Jerry, I like it. Yes. Excuse me? Peaceful. Yeah, another peaceful. What else? Come on. You said creepy? Okay. Yeah, sometimes it takes a little getting used have a bit of a challenge there, but that's practice. It quiets down the noise in the head. Beautiful. Yes. Does anyone else feel that? Everything out. Yeah. Excuse me? Just being by yourself. Yeah. The world has disappeared. That's awesome. I like it. Yeah. In the back.
The part where you said you're counting, was it up or down to 5, and you said your eyelids
Yeah.
is getting heavier and heavier, even if you tried. I guess what I want to say, that didn't work for me, that part. Maybe this is the first time.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm conscious to it. Is that part of the experience, or?
Actually, Martin can speak to that, my son, because the first time we did it, no, I'll tell the story. Yeah, so the first time I put him in hypnosis, he wanted to spite me, and I could see he was fighting and he was fighting and I'm like, good job, you now proved to yourself and to me that you are still the owner of your own free will. Bingo. You may now relax and close your eyes, and he went right back into hypnosis. So it's not a big deal if you wanted to prove your point that you can still open your eyes, you succeeded. Good job. Yeah, that proves that you can still have your own willpower.
Right. So what's the point?
What's the point of this, doing this? It's a deepening exercise.
Okay.
So, yeah, this was the first time I actually did it with a group where I folded that one in, because usually that counting from 5 down to 1 with the eyelids is something I do the second or third session.
And it's
once
more
we've established
one-on-one?
more of a rapport.
And would it be more one-on-one?
Yeah, so these sessions normally happen one-on-one, exactly. This was just, basically what happened just now was you were dipping your toe in the water of what hypnosis feels like. When we do a real session, it's a full hour, and where I put you to, or guide you to hypnosis, and it will be deeper than what we did just now. That's for 2 reasons. Number 1, I have a few more deepening exercises, but number 2, the more you do it, the more sophisticated, hypnotically sophisticated you become, and the deeper you go into that trance state, and faster. So the more it's like driving a car. Casey, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was actually just going to kind of comment on the
Sure.
sophistication part. So that's a term we use. The more, as you were saying, the more and more you do this, the more and more you trust your subconscious and your creative conscious. These things will come faster. You'll go into hypnosis way faster. You'll go way deeper. And at first, you may not like. People say like in shows like, oh, I want you to imagine a scene. And some people are like, oh yeah, I actually saw it. And other people will say that they did, and like, am I not doing it right? Everyone kind of sees it differently, but you do it long enough, and sometimes you'll break through that wall, and you'll start to get more vivid imagery the more you do it. It's just like working out. The harder you work, you work a muscle, and it's just the same with the mind. You do this more and more, the intuition will come faster, and you'll go deeper.
Yeah.
So it does
So,
come with
Mr. Thiel, why were you resisting?
No, it wasn't a matter of resistance. It was just following and just trying to follow the hypnosis and wanting to. So I don't know if it was a conscious decision to not do it, but I was just trying to follow and follow it, but the conscious was still there. So I guess to your point.
That's what I'm saying. You're still there.
Yeah, still there.
Yeah.
So just maybe this is the first
And you
time.
can even talk and move and
Yeah.
do things when you're in hypnosis. Yes. Yes.
So I guess when I was younger, my mom used to always get me to meditate. Is this kind of similar to what we get into a state which is
Yes.
very relaxed, very,
Yeah.
you let go of your inhibitions, and
Yeah,
it's very similar feeling.
The brain waves with meditation and hypnosis are almost identical.
Yes.
The difference is that with meditation, and I guess every practice is a little bit different, but you're silencing your conscious mind, you're creating a stillness. In this, we're just kind of taking the subconscious and putting, or the conscious and putting it in the corner of the room, letting it listen while we talk to the
Yes.
subconscious. So you're consciously there and everything, but you still are accessing the brainwave of meditation that you would get. So it's very similar.
Thank you. Yes. So good segue. Let's talk now about the difference between the conscious and the subconscious mind and what function each brain has. Now that you're also wonderfully relaxed. So we're almost done with the knowing part of the stuff, right? So this is the second to last slide, so bear with me. So a conscious mind, we don't have to talk much about it. We all know it's used for reasoning, analysis, and decision making. That's the one we use right now, every day pretty much. The Buddhists call it the monkey mind. Some people call it the chatterbox. It's basically that endless stream of consciousness that says, did you prepare for the presentation? I bet you didn't prepare enough. Right? That. And sometimes it's very challenging for us to deal with that stream of consciousness 24/7. And wouldn't it be great if we found a way to just shut it up sometimes? Right? Yes, we can. So mindfulness, which is the big trend right now, teaches us that we should observe that stream of consciousness, which is better than not doing anything for sure, because now we're taking a step back and we realize, aha, there's something else here. I'm not that stream of consciousness. There's something else out there. I'm more than that. And that allows you to create a distance between you and your thoughts, which is helpful, right? Meditation is basically geared towards silencing that stream of consciousness. My dentist, who has been meditating for 25 years, told me that it took her 25 years to finally do that. Yay, now she can shut off her mind, basically. And I said, wow, I'm happy for you. I'm happy to report also that I can do this too. And it took me less than a week with self-hypnosis to do this. And she says, what? So if you learn how to do what we just did as a group yourself, you can use it to fall asleep. You can use it to calm yourself down before a presentation, such as this one. You can use it to snap out of an unresponsible state. If you feel it getting angry and you know it's useless anyway to get upset, try self-hypnosis for 10 minutes and I guarantee you, you'll feel much, much better, right? So the subconscious mind is what I wanted to spend a couple minutes on. It's very important to understand a few basic things about it. And if you heed what I share with you now, you're going to act differently walking out of here tonight. It doesn't understand no. So, right now, nobody in this room here, please do not think of the Eiffel Tower. Nobody think of the Eiffel Tower. What image just popped up in everyone's mind? The Eiffel Tower. Isn't that funny? So if I say to you, my God, make sure that shot doesn't go out of bounds. If you miss that shot, oh my God, don't miss the shot. So all we all heard just now was out of bounds and missed the shot. So what do you think is going to happen? Seriously. Miss the shot and go out of bounds, right? That's, yeah, I guarantee it. So the subconscious mind doesn't have a discerning capability. That's the conscious mind's job, right? The subconscious mind executes flawlessly 100% of the time on what we tell it to. So we have to be very careful with our self-talk and the way we communicate with others. Does it make sense? So I know it sounds kind of weird to say to our 3-year-old, leave the milk in the glass, instead of saying, don't spill the milk, right? We're so used to saying that. But I really, yes, Deepak? Get it on the fairway. That's good. Get it on the fairway. I like it. That's the worst one? I mean, don't say anything. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I think we all understand what this is about, right? So you have to be very cognizant with what you tell yourself. So if you say to yourself, oh my God, I'm such an idiot, yeah, you're going to act like an idiot because you just told yourself that you're wrong, right? It directs the autonomous nervous system, or short ANS. So right now as we sit here, we're breathing, we're digesting food, our heart is pumping, all of that happens without any conscious effort on our part. That is the autonomous nervous system in action. And why that is important to understand that there is a subconscious element to our bodily functions is because golf, of course, is 90% a mental game, right? And it's a precision sport, a finesse sport. So I'm going to quote Bob Toski, I think is the guy's name, yep, who is a PGA Hall of Famer. He says, 1/64th of an inch deviation can move a ball offline further than you can even imagine. 1/64th of an inch, so I'm German, I'm guessing that's like 2-3 millimeters, right? Deviation can move a ball offline further than you can even imagine. So if you think, or if your player thinks, oh, shoot, I hope I don't miss the shot, what do you think the subconscious mind is going to do? It executes flawlessly. It'll give you the 64th inch deviation to make sure you miss the shot, right? So you have to tell yourself things in an affirmative and positive manner if you want a positive outcome. Pretty simple. But practice that for the next 2 weeks. As you walk out or you make that your mission for the next 2 weeks, you're going to observe your thoughts and make sure they're affirmative and positive in everything you do, the way you talk to your kids, and especially the way you talk to yourself. Promise, everybody? Great. Lastly, an important thing to note is that the subconscious does not discern or cannot distinguish between fact and fantasy or internal or external images. What that means is if I visualize something, it's, as far as my subconscious mind is concerned, the exact same thing as if it actually happened. In fact, there's this guy, I shouldn't call him a guy, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who is a researcher in the field of neuroscience, also an author, lecturer, wrote a few books, and he did a study where he took a group and let them mentally rehearse an exercise. Actually, he did an athletic exercise and he did a music piece, a violin piece, right? And one group rehearsed the whole thing only in their heads, from start to finish, and the other group actually played the game and played the violin. And which group do you think did better after 2 weeks practicing? Actually, the outcome was identical. So it makes zero difference for the subconscious mind how you exercise, if you do it in your head or if you do it for real. That's pretty important to understand, right? Yeah. I know, lots of things to take home. Yeah, so what that basically means is that that's the reason we use the power of, so when you're in hypnosis, we learn that we have access to the subconscious, right? And at that point, that's when we do all of our other techniques such as vivid guided imagery, you know, journeys of visualizations. We take you on all kinds of trips, right? With the purpose of you having aha moments and experiencing transformational change. Our program is, let's go to the next one actually. It's 12 sessions delivered over the course of 8 to 12 weeks. So each person gets 6 sessions, 6 for the parent, 6 for the youth player. We do it only in pairs, so if you want to sign up for this program, it will be 1 grown-up and 1 youth player. The reason we do it together is because it's, as you probably gather from today, it's quite the personal transformational journey that we will guide you on, and it's important that you do it together, because there will be things that shift in the family through that. All 6 parent sessions will be delivered via FaceTime, meaning you will be at home when you're relaxed in your bed or in a recliner chair. We realize you guys have jobs, so we will work on the weekends as needed, or in the mornings or in the evenings. Of the 6 sessions for the youth player, it's 5 via FaceTime and 1 in person here. So Casey will have clients, of course, and he lives in Colorado Springs, but we use FaceTime, so it doesn't matter. The 1 session for the youth player that's delivered at the golf course is done by me for all of our clients, and that's because we are doing a session called anchoring, where we're anchoring high-performing states to a specific physical movement. I'm sure you've seen it on TV where people make all kinds of weird things in their pre-show routine. That's when they're recalling a high-performing state and get themselves to get into the zone. Okay? We will teach you that. So everybody gets an audio recording, a personalized one. So once in session 2, once we understand in depth what your particular challenges are with respect to golf, we will create some powerful suggestions to address those and make a recording that you will then be listening to every night as you fall asleep. for a few weeks or months until that's outdated and the goals have been achieved, then we create a new one. So the investment is $250 a session, which comes out to $3,000 per sign-up because it's 12 sessions. And if you are at any point dissatisfied, meaning you say, this doesn't work for me or whatever it may be, doesn't even matter what it is, if you don't want to continue, you just tell me and I will refund you whatever you haven't used up in terms of sessions. Okay? That's really all I had. In a moment, if you like, we will pass out some sign-up forms. It will ask for method of payment. And then you can either attach a check if you have one, or give it to us in the next couple of days. Or I've got a Square thing for credit card processing, so you can come see me. So option A, if you're already sure that you want to do this program and you're ready to start, then you let me know today and check that box. If you say no, we want to wait for whatever reason, and we want to reserve our spot to start in 8 to 10 weeks, then you can do that as well today. Meet your mind coach. So Casey and I will both be signing people up, of course, and we will meet to kick things off with you here in person, not here, but down at the restaurant. You will just circle the time that you want to meet us, and then we will call you, of course, before that designated time to confirm that that time is in fact when we can meet you, or find a different time slot for you in the next 2 days, tomorrow and Monday. Bless you. Yep, and that's all I had. Now I have, I will open up for questions and answers, insights, and feedback. We have 15 minutes for that, if you want to. Any questions? Got questions? Okay. So this is our contact information, and I have a feedback form here and a sign-up form.